Following video is not made for kids. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello to my friends and subscribers. This is the TFN Geek. I know it's been a while since I did my previous review, but life has gotten in the way recently quite a lot for me, and so I've been forced to prioritize things that are much more important than my YouTube channel, so I apologize for not being here for a while. But between helping my family and also having to take care of my own health, I had a bit of a scare there last week where I thought I was experiencing something horrible, but luckily it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, and that's all I'm willing to divulge. But point is, I am now back, and for tonight we are not going to be taking a look at one, but two, well actually it's 2.5, Transformers action figures. And as the thumbnail has already revealed, along with the title of the video, today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Generations, Legacy, Diaclone, Topspin, and Transformers Age of the Primes, Spinister versus Topspin 2-pack. So these are the two Transformers action figures products we are going to be taking a look at tonight. The reason why I decided to do a double review is because Topspin and Twin Twist, they're two Transformers characters that are meant to stand side by side with each other, so I figured I'd do them both in the same review. So, taking a look at them in the order in which they were released. First up we have from the Legacy Year 1 line, this is the Amazon exclusive Wreck and Rule collection. On that note, both of these products were released exclusively through Amazon here in the United States. So here we've got the Diaclone version of Twin Twist, which was released in his original Diaclone colors of mostly blue and red. When Topspin and Twin Twist were released in the Transformers line as Transformers characters in 1984, their red and dark blue colors were swapped for bluish teal and white, and so they were switched out. But yeah, here is Twin Twist from the Diaclone universe as it shows there on the side of the box. And in keeping in line with the Diaclone theme here, Twin Twist and also Topspin they are both wreckers. Twin Twist was the 5th and only individually released deluxe class figure from the Amazon exclusive Wreck and Rule collection released in Legacy Year 1. And so, most of the Transformers action figures have been released exclusively through Amazon over the past 3 individual years from 2022 to 2025, which is the current year of this video's recording. They focused on 2 factions of Transformers, the Wreckers and the Mayhem Attack Squad, which is the Decepticons equivalent of the Wreckers. And both groups of Transformers have their own faction symbol. The Wreckers symbol is a slightly modified version of the Autobot symbol, while the the Mayhem Attack Squad has a faction symbol that looks like a monstrous creature with tentacles out of its face. Even though it's not entirely accurate, the Mayhem Attack Squad symbol, it looks almost like a combination of Generation 1 Piranacon with tentacles from the Decepticon Pretender Octopunch coming around it. But bringing focus back here on topic. So yeah, here's Twin Twist in his box. There's Whirl from the Thrilling 30 line, which is the most recent action figure Whirl's gotten. Was his Voyager class figure released back in 2014. You've got a robot mode face here, which I believe is supposed to represent Fortress Maximus, or no, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It's not Fortress Maximus. It's actually Emirate. Darn, I just had his name. One moment, please. Okay, this is actually the face of Emirate Zeron, and so that was a Easter egg to the fact that he would be released in a 2-pack with Autobot Flame exclusively through PulseCon and Hasbro Pulse 2 years later in 2024. So yeah, there's a nice Easter egg there of Emirate Zeron's face there in the Wreckers collection. action. And if you collected all of the Wreck and Rule Transformers products, which I only have 4 of them, I did not get the Wreckers version of Springer. But if you collected them all up and lined them all and stuck them all on top of each other, they formed a giant mural of the Wreckers defending Cybertron from the Decepticons. So yeah, that was a really nice thing there. You got the Legacy Year 1 logo right here on the top of the box. Wreck and Rule collection, so these are the Wreckers. And of course you got the artwork from Legacy Year 1, the half of it featuring Optimus Prime and the Autobot. It's Bulkhead, Blaster, Prime RC, and Hot Rod. Along with an image of planet Earth, which is what Optimus Prime is staring at. Coming on here to the back of the box, you've got product shots of Twin Twist in his robot mode and his vehicle mode of a twin drill tank, and of course his Titan Master from the Titans Return line. Oddly enough, Twin Twist's Titan Master is unnamed here for his Diaclone counterpart. In the Titans Return line, Twin Twist's headmaster partner was given the name Flameout. So even though officially the Titan Master's unnamed, that's what I'm going to be calling him, Flameout. So yeah, there's that. Twin Twist. And then for the next product, we have a 2-pack of Twin Twist's partner, and I don't know if Topspin and Twin Twist are brothers like Sunstreaker and Sideswipe are, but yeah, you got Topspin there, and so for the Age of the Primes line, Amazon decided, long story short, we got Wreckers figures in the Wreck and Rule collection for Legacy Year 1 back in 2022. Then in 2023, Amazon took a break from the Wreckers and the Mayhem Attack Squad by releasing characters from the IDW comics such as the Rise of Tyranny and Tyranny 2-pack with Megatron and Senator Ratbat. Then we had the 2-pack with Senator Shockwave and Orion Pax. I forgot what that one was, what the name of that 2-pack was, but yeah, Amazon took a break during Legacy Evolution to release characters from IDW's comics. We also got the 2-pack of Autobot Javelin and Cascade, who is one of the Ascenticons, the precursors to the Decepticons. But then last year in 2024, for the final year of the Legacy Trilogy, Legacy United, we got action figures of the Decepticon Mayhem Attack Squad, which are the Decepticon counterparts to the Wreckers. We got 2 of the 4 deluxe Insecticons with Chop Shop and Barrage, and then we got a 2-pack of the Generation 1 Triggercon Windshare with the Prime version of Breakdown, and then the last 2-pack from the Mayhem Attack Squad was a 2-pack with Bludgeon and the other member of the Triggercons, Ruckus, which was released sometime later. So we're getting the same here for the Age of the Primes line, only instead of the Wreckers and the Mayhem Attack Squad being released separately, they're now being released in Versus packs. Spinister and Topspin were one of 2 packs where you have a Wrecker facing off against a member of the Decepticon Mayhem Attack Squad. So the Mayhem Attack Squad odd sets were known as the Doom and Destruction, while the Wreckers were known as Wreck and Rule. Well, so the names have been combined, so it's now the Wreck and Doom collection. So that's really nice that Hasbro and Amazon recycled the names like that. Just to show that these figures released in these Amazon exclusives from the Age of the Primes line, they are designed to interact with the figures that were released both in the Wreck and Rule collection and the Doom and Destruction collections in 2022 and 2024 respectively. So yeah, this version of Topspin that was released back in Legacy Year 1 is designed to stand beside and interact with the version of Topspin released in this 2-pack with Spinister, the Mayhem Attack Squad member here. So Topspin was released, of course, to stand beside Twin Twist, so now we have the Diaclone versions of both of the Transformers Generation 1 Autobot Jumpstarters. And then for Spinister, The main reason why Hasbro decided to make Spinister the Decepticon fighting against Topspin is because Spinister, the figure that this version is repainted from, which was the Siege version of Spinister. Siege Spinister was released way back in 2019, which here's the Siege version of Spinister here, and his two Spinister is one of three Decepticon Transformers characters from Generation 1 who were known as the double Targetmasters. Instead of having just one Targetmaster partner, they had two. And Spinister's Targetmaster partners from the Siege line, I know, their names are Singe and Hairsplitter. Hairsplitter had a copyrighted name in the Titans Return line. I can't remember what it was. I've just called him by his Generation 1 name, but they were released separately from Spinister. Singe was released by himself at mass retail. He was, I believe, the last of the individually sold Titan Masters to be released in the final wave of the Titans Return line in 2017. And then Hairsplitter, who is the bright light gray and purple Targetmaster here, he was released in the infamously, he was one of the Titan Masters released in the Siege box set that was released exclusive by Amazon that contains the Siege version of Skywarp. And after the initial stock, which collectors got on pre-order, once those pre-orders were filled out, which was basically Amazon's initial stock, that was it. Skywarp quickly sold out, and Amazon didn't restock the Siege version of Skywarp, that box set, and it's become one of the most hard-to-find products out there. It was announced that Skywarp was one of the hard-to-find Transformers action figures that's been released in recent years that's been hard to find. He will be getting a re-release later this year in 2025. I have some people who missed out on the Siege Tetrajet version of Skywarp, along with the Titan Masters that came with him, such as one of Spinister's Targetmaster partners, Hairsplitter. There'll be a second chance to get that box set. I was lucky enough to get it the first time it came around, so as soon as Singe was released at the very end of the Transformers Siege line, I called him a Titan Master earlier, I forgot. These were Battle Masters, which were the Siege line. And if I make any mistakes, I apologize. It's late at night, my family's trying to sleep, and I'm trying to get this review done as quickly as possible, which I'm failing at with all the information I want to share with you guys. But yeah, there's Siege Spinister with his two Targetmaster / Battle Master partners, Singe and Hairsplitter. And so, for the Age of the Primes line, Hasbro decided, because Siege Spinister was released way back in 2019, several years before his fellow Decepticon Targetmaster partners were finally given modern action figures in the form of Needlenose, who was released during Legacy Year 1, the same year Twin Twist was released exclusively on Amazon. And then we got Quake in the Legacy United line last year in 2024. Quake technically got a deluxe figure in the Titans Return line back in 2016, so technically Needlenose was the last of the Decepticon double Targetmasters to get a modern figure. But the point is that Needlenose and Quake, they got modern they got more modern versions of the Targetmasters that aren't as detailed or have as much articulation as the Titan Master / Battle Master figures that were released in the Siege line back in 2019. And so even if, like me, you were lucky enough to get the Siege versions of Singe and Hairsplitter and partner them up with Spinister again, Spinister had larger and more elaborate Targetmasters than the versions of Quake and Needlenose released in the Legacy trilogy. So the Age of the Primes version of Spinister, he now has versions of Singe and Hairsplitter that are as lackluster and uninteresting compared to the Siege Battle Masters that Quake and that Legacy Needlenose and Legacy United Quake come packaged with. I believe Singe and Hairsplitter, they are direct repaints of Needlenose's Targetmaster partners of Zigzag and Solar Flare, I think was the name of the other one. So yeah, Singe and Hairsplitter, if you have Legacy Needlenose, then O's then. Singe and Hairsplitter, you're getting repaints of Solar Flare and Zigzag Egg done in Spinister's Targetmaster or partner colors. Also, interestingly enough, though, if you look here at the photos, if you look here at the box art where Spinister and Topspin are about to face off and fight each other, Spinister, he actually has the same two laser guns that his original Siege action figure came with. So, because Singe and Hairsplitter were released separately from Spinister in the Siege line originally, Hasbro instead gave Spinister non-transforming standard double-barrel laser guns, which were designed to mimic his partners of Singe and Hairsplitter. And just like the Siege figure here, the Age of the Primes version of Spinister has those two non-transforming standard double-barrel laser guns included as well. So if you want, so basically, if you missed out on the Siege version of Spinister, then the Age of the Primes version of Spinister is a chance to get Spinister and add him to your Transformers collection. There's a catch, though. Just like Topspin and Twin Twist are repaints of their original action figures that were released in the Titans Return line, Spinister is not a direct re-release of his Siege action figure. Age of the Prime Spinister, he has a new paint job which is based more off of the box art from his Transformers Generation 1 packaging, and also the paint job that he had in the Transformers comic books, where he had a much darker shade of purple, and the parts of him that were like magenta on Spinister, as you can see, where his legs are a shade of purple, while his torso is a shade of magenta that almost matches the... It's not quite as bright as the shade of pink used on his on the rotor blade section of his alternate mode of a helicopter, but compared to each other, the shade of lavender and shade of purple used here on Siege Spinister, they aren't as contrasting to each other, but they are here on Age of the Prime Spinister. So Siege Spinister is based off of his original Generation 1 action figure. This is the paint job that Generation 1 Spinister had, but for Age of the Primes, the paint job that he has is the one from the box art on his Generation 1 action figures packaging, and also in his appearance in the comic books. Like I said a moment ago, for the Wreck and Doom collection Transformers figures, there are multiple versions of them, just like we gotten with the other Amazon exclusive series. Unfortunately, unlike the other Amazon exclusive Transformers action figures that have been released in the past, where such as Twin Twist, again, for example, if you got all the Amazon exclusive figures in these subgroups, if you line the boxes all up together, they would make giant murals, a massive image of all the characters released in that subline. For the Age of the Primes Wreck and Doom collection figures, if you buy all the sets, they don't form a giant mural. It's almost the same background image that's seen here with Spinister and Topspin, where on the Decepticon on Mayhem Attack Squad, you've got a fiery background, while in the Wreckers section you've got a blue icy background behind the Wreckers, and that's done to mimic the colors that their faction symbols are supposed to be. The Wreck and Doom collection action is like a reddish orange, while the Wrecker symbol is light blue. So these different backgrounds are a nod to what the faction symbols for the Wreckers and the Mayhem Attack Squad I'd have on there. The other Wreck and Doom collection 2-pack that's been released right now, which I do have, I forgot to grab it to show it off. It's Carnivac versus Physitron, aka Iron Fist. It's the same image. It's almost the same image as used here for Spinister and Topspin's box, but the way the rocks are faces the opposite direction. So yeah, they don't form a mural like other exclusive sets I've done over the past few years. So Oh, it takes away the fun of the boxes, but then I suppose that's just that was probably done because most Transformers fans and collectors don't keep the boxes and they eventually throw them out, so I guess Hasbro and Amazon decided there was no need to form a giant mural from the boxes. So, keeping with the Age of the Primes, IM's new packaging, the Generations logo unfortunately has been removed from the box by Hasbro and Takara Tomy, so technically the Generations line came to an end with Legacy United last year in 2024 after it had been the Generations line had been introduced way back in 2010, so the Generations line lasted for roughly 14 years. But again, because these figures are designed to interact with the other Amazon exclusive figures, then they're still technically part of the Generations banner. But I said this when the Age of the Primes line first came out. I wish they would have kept the Generations logo, but getting back on topic here. So here we got some artwork of Spinister and Topspin fighting each other one-on-one. And for the Age of the Primes line, the number of steps that it takes to transform the Transformers figures, it's now on the front of the box. So you've got the faction symbol that they're affiliated with, along with an image of a silhouette of Optimus Prime for the robot mode, and then you've got a image showing roughly what the alt mode of the figure is supposed to be. Topspin transforms into a Cybertronian jet, so they're just showing a human-made fighter jet there. Topspin transforms back and forth between both of his modes in 18 steps. Spinister, I said it showed the faction symbol that they're affiliated with, but for some reason on Spinister they use the Autobot logo. Then you've got the robot, and Spinister's vehicle mode is a helicopter, so you got an image of that there. And he transforms in 25 steps. And it shows under Spinister recommended age range for these Transformers action figures, which it's up to you to decide if you use that or not. So, just like the Transformers figures we got during the Amazon exclusive Transformers release during Legacy Evolution, which were the which specifically I'm referring to Autobot Javelin versus Decepticon Cascade. These are now Versus packs. We got as the Target Store exclusive 4-pack that was released last year in 2024 for Legacy United was a Versus pack with Cliffjumper facing off against 3 evil Transformers armor. So yeah, I'm really enjoying these Versus packs where you have a villainous versus heroic Transformers character fighting off against each other. Here on the top of the box you got Takara Tomy's logo along with the same images on the front of the box of Spinister and Topspin facing off against each other. Same images on the side of the box. You got Topspin on one side, Spinister on the other side. And again, there's the Age of the Primes logo. It's almost identical to the style of packaging for 2025 as Studio Series, only the stripe for the Age of the Primes line is gold, where it's blue for the Studio Series line, so that's the main distinction. Coming around here to the back of the box, you've got Spinister and Topspin, product photos of them in both their robot modes and their alternate modes. Again, showing the same number of steps on the front of the box. And this is why I mentioned in the Titans Return line, a Twin Twist Headmaster / Titan Master partner had been given the name Flameout, because here on this here for the Age of the Primes line, Hasbro decided to once again call Topspin's Headmaster / Titan Master partner Freezeout, which was the name of his Titan Master partner in the Titans Return line, Freezeout. And so I said this in my original review of the Titans Return versions of Topspin and Twin Twist, but with Topspin's Titan Master having the name Freezeout and Twin Twists having the name Flameout. The idea is that Topspin and Twin Twist are, because they have inverted paint jobs from each other, Twin Twist has a red torso, while the rest of his robot mode, his head, his arms, and his legs are done in blue. For Topspin, it's inverted. His torso is blue, but then his head, arms, and legs are red. And so, to keep with the theme of Topspin and Twin Twist having inverted paint jobs from each other, their Titan Masters being named Freezeout and Flameout. It's almost like the constellation Gemini, where you've got the powers of fire and ice. And so that's the direction that Hasbro went with Topspin and Twin Twist's Titan Master partners. So yeah, it is nice that Freezeout has retained the same name he did from Titan's Return, when unfortunately poor Flameout didn't get that honor. He just went unnamed officially for Twin Twist release. But yeah, they got the same steps. Topspin transforms in 18 steps, Spinister in 25. Then you got the product images, and here again on the images it shows Spinister wielding the same laser guns that his original Siege action figure came with. So if you missed out on the Siege version of Spinister, you have the chance of getting a second chance of getting Deluxe class Spinister as he was released in the Siege line with his original non-transforming, non-Targetmaster laser guns. But as an added bonus, you now finally get versions of Singe and Hairsplitter that are meant to be partnered with Spinister, and they're the same Titan Masters that we got with Needle Nose and Quake in the Legacy trilogy. So if you don't want to see Spinister having the more elaborate Battlemaster Targetmasters, or is from the Siege line, then the Age of the Primes line will allow you to have Spinister, Quake, and Needle Nose, all three of the Decepticon double Target Masters, having the exact same type of Target Masters partnered with them. And what a mouthful that was to say. But yeah, like I said, here you can see Spinister's new paint job. It's based more off of his appearance in the Transformers comic books, and the box art of his G1 figure. And so, now that I babbled on long enough and we've looked at the boxes for technically all three of these Transformers action figures, let's get them out and take a close look at them. And I believe them from other reviews I've seen, they all come packaged in their robot modes, so that's the mode that we will be starting with. So bear in mind with me for a moment while I get these guys unboxed. Be right back. Alright, and so here are all three of them out of their boxes. So here we got the Diaclone versions of Topspin and Twin Twist united and looking fantastic, standing side by side with each other. It's kind of hard to tell due to the light blue paint used on him, but they have the same record symbol here on the lower area of their torsos. You can see it more on Topspin's torso because it's a light blue on a blue background versus the light blue on red for Twin Twist. But yeah, just like their Titan's Return action figures that they're directly repainted from, they have inverted paint jobs where their torsos are the opposite color of their heads, arms, and legs. And it's even true for their Titan Master partners, Freezeout and Flameout, which I'll show off later in the review. And then of course we have Spinister here. Here, the member of the Mayhem Attack Squad. As I said, he now has more contrasting shades of purple and pink compared to each other, and it's based more off his appearance in the Transformers comic books and his G1 box art. Alright, so unlike his Siege action figure, which has the paint job that his original G1 action figure had, is a much darker shade of purple here used on him. And now that I have him out of the box, honestly I cannot decide which version of Spinister who I visually enjoy more, his Siege version or his new Age of the Primes figure. One thing I will say, comparing Siege Spinister to the Age of the Primes version, at least with my two copies, on Spinister, his helicopter rotor blades, they're designed to lock in place, but as you can see right here, doing it with very little effort here with my fingers, the rotor blades on Age of the Prime Spinister, they don't lock into place as effectively as his Siege action figure, and they want to flop to one side. So yeah, that is a little discouraging that the original Siege one, the rotor blades are able to lock in place more successfully. So setting Spinister off to the side for just a moment, let's focus on Topspin and Twin Twist. So yeah, we've got the Jumpstarters in their Diaclone colors, and as I said, they're inverted from each other, kind of, sort of, almost. The gray used here on their eyes. Twin Twist has unpainted dark gray. Used for his gray bits, which are his thighs, his pelvis, and I believe, the hinge joints used for his Titan Master partner Flameout. And then for Topspin, it's inverted again, but for his thighs, Titan Topspin, the lower half of his thighs, which are his knee joints, they're cast in light gray plastic, same as his pelvis, but then the upper half of his thighs, which are his hips, it's actually the same blue plastic used on his torso, or so painted over in silver. So that's kind of odd that they went with that choice of plastic for Topspin. But one thing to note about Topspin and Twin Twist is that the shades of red and blue plastic used on the both of them, they are the same. So the shade of blue plastic used on Twin Twist, same thing used here on Topspin, and vice versa with the red as well. So yeah, it's amazing that even though both these action figures were released 3 years apart from each other, it's amazing that Hasbro and Takara were able to replicate the same shades of red and blue plastic used originally on Twin Twist, again here for Topspin. A lot of Transformers collectors, myself included, passed on Topspin originally when he came out back in 2022, since Twin Twist was nowhere in sight, and the two Jumpstarters are designed to stand side by side with each other, and so having just one of them, that was a turn-off for quite a few Transformers fans and collectors to not get Twin Twist, since his partner Topspin hadn't been released. And that's why I admit I passed on Twin Twist when he first came out back in 2022. It wasn't until this year in 2025 when Topspin was announced that I decided to get Twin Twist so I could have Diaclone versions of both Topspin and Twin Twist standing with each other. And for a quick size comparison, here they are next to their original Titans Return action figures. So here we've got the Titans Return versions of Topspin and Twist, and again, same paint layout where they have inverted colors from each other. Unlike the Titans Return / G1 versions of them, which the inverted colors were light blue, like a bluish teal, and along with white paint. For the original Diaclone versions, when Topspin and Twin Twist were originally released in 1983, their colors were dark blue, and red. So, it's nice that Hasbro and Takara were able to replicate those original Diaclone action figures of them. One thing to note about the two versions of Twin Twist compared to each other is that on the original Titans Return Twin Twist, his tank treads, the interiors of them for when you transform him into his alternate mode, they were unpainted on that side of the treads. But if you look here on Twin Twist, unfortunately my camera is able to pick it up. His tank treads are painted even on the interior for his vehicle mode, which ends up being the outside of his shoulder pads. So it's nice that unlike the Titans Return version of Twin Twist, the tank treads are painted all over on the Legacy Diaclone version of Twin Twist here. So that's really nice to see that. And for Topspin, there really wasn't much of a paint difference between comparing Titans Return and Age of the Prime's Topspin with each other. Unlike Twin Twist, where there's more paint on the tank treads, Topspin, pretty much the paint job's nearly identical. One difference, though, is that on Titans Return Twin Twist, he has these silver and red stripes on his wings and on the top of his wing section, but on Age of the Prime's Diaclone Topspin, the stripes for his wings, they're painted on both sides as well, so I stand corrected. I kept saying there wasn't a difference here, but yeah, unlike, just like Twin Twist with his tank treads on Diaclone Topspin, the silver stripes are now on both sides of his wings, where here's one wing where he's got the G1 Autobot logo here on him, and that's one thing that Topspin has over his partner Twin Twist, is that Twin Twist just has the Wreckers symbol on the front of his torso, but Topspin, there's now an Autobot logo there on that wing thing here for him. So just like Twin Twist with his tank treads being painted on both sides, the silver stripes on Topspin's wings on the Diaclone, they're painted both on the inside and the out, whereas on Topspin, just like Twin Twist, they're only painted on the exterior part of the alt mode. So when you transform them into robot mode, I keep making a liar of myself in front of you guys. I apologize. So yeah, Topspin has the stripes on both sides of the wings as well, so I was actually right the first time. They have almost the same amount of paint jobs. So yeah, Twin Twist was the one who was most lacking in Titan's Return. So these guys want me to jump all around with pointing their paint similarities and differences to each other. I won't go into the articulation with Topspin and Twin Twist since it's pretty standard for deluxe class Transformers, especially from the Titan's Return line. The ball joint, the heads can spin and look up and down slightly, but that's the ball joint for the Titanmaster head, so I recommend using that with caution. You got ball jointed shoulders, swivel joints in the bicep, double hinged elbows, no wrist articulation due to the transformation, a swivel joint in the in the waist, ball jointed hips, swivel thighs, and double hinged knees, and the feet can technically go up and down at the toes for both Topspin and Twin Twist, but that's due to transformation primarily. And for those of you guys for those of you guys who want further proof that the shades of red and blue plastic used on these versions of Topspin and Twin Twist are identical to each other, for another size comparison, here are my custom Twin Twist and Topspin action figures. So yes, I decided this was something I originally wanted to do with the Titan's Return versions of Topspin and Twin Twist. I wanted to buy duplicate copies so I could part swap and see what they look like, having monochrome paint jobs and basically swapping the torsos out for each other. So I decided to do that here with the Diaclone versions of Topspin and Twin Twist, so I now have a custom all-blue Twin Twist and an all-red Topspin. So yeah, the shades of red and blue plastic used on both figures, they are identical despite being released 3 years apart. I originally made these monochrome versions of Topspin and Twin Twist to add to my Shattered Glass collection of Transformers. But yeah, that's for those of you wondering what they would look like having solid paint jobs. Here's what they look like compared to each other. So here is an all-blue version of Twin Twist standing beside an all-red version of Topspin. And I did want to also try and switch out the elbow joints, which are inverted from each other. Twin Twist has red elbows and Topspin has blue elbows, but the pin joints on those proved to be too difficult and small to remove, so I decided to leave those on there. But yeah, there you have what monochrome owned Diaclone Jumpstarters would look like. So yeah, there's Twin Twist and Topspin. And bringing back Spinister. Articulation for him I'm not going to really go into. It's pretty standard for action figures from the Siege line. But for a size comparison, here he is next to his Spinister's feet are really wobbly due to how they transform. Or I'm especially standing here on my table, but as you can see right here on Siege Spinister, here when I try to move the rotor blades, they almost stay in place, but on Age of the Prime Spinister, they want to lop over to one side. I don't know if, and that's not just because I have his, have one foot angled out farther than the other. So yeah, that is a little discouraging that the rotor blade is much more loose on Age of the Prime Spinister than his Siege counterpart. But yeah, there they are in the two different versions of Singe and Hairsplitter standing side by side with each other. Setting Siege Spinister off to the side. For another size comparison, here is Age of the Prime Spinister next to his fellow Decepticon double Targetmaster partners. Here is Legacy Year 1 Needlenose with Legacy United Quake. So, with Age of the Prime Spinister, you now have all three of the Decepticon double Targetmasters with the exact same type of Targetmaster partners with each other. And as I said, the Age of the Prime's versions of Singe and Hairsplitter, they're straight-up repaints of Needlenoses, Targetmasters, Zigzag, and Solar Flare. Quake, at least, his two Targetmaster partners had different molds. So it is a little discouraging that Hasbro just recycled Zigzag and Solar Flare to make the Age of the Prime's versions of Singe and Hairsplitter. And if you wanted to, you could swap out about the Targetmasters, the different versions of Singe and Hairsplitter between both Siege and Age of the Prime Spinister. So yeah, that's another play factor that they can do. Alright, and so here, really fast, this is just a quick side-by-side comparison of Freezeout and Flameout. And it cracks me up how Freezeout, being Topspin's headmaster, is predominantly red, while Flameout's Twin Twist Titanmaster. I got it right finally. Cracks me up how their names Freeze and Flame aim out. They have almost like the paint job that the other would have had, and even more so than Topspin and Twin Twist themselves. So yeah, that's nice to see that there. Here, and for a special size comparison, if I can safely remove them on camera for you guys. For me personally, I apologize for not saying this earlier in the review, but out of all the deluxe class Transformers figures that were released in the Titans Return line back in 2016, even though we got all of the Decepticon headmasters and we got all of the Autobot headmasters in the Titans Return line, out of all the deluxe class figures that were released in Titans Return, my two favorites are a tie between Topspin and Twin Twist. For some reason, the two Jumpstarters, the deluxe figures they got in the Titans Return line, that made them become my favorite deluxe figures from that line of Transformers. So here are my custom monochrome owned Jumpstarter headmaster partners. So we've got Freezeout and Flameout, where I basically did a leg swap. So now they have monochrome colors just like Topspin and Twin Twist do. And for those of you who wonder what it would be, for those of you who want to have an all blue head for Twin Twist and an all red head for Topspin, the legs are on these Titan Masters are held by 2 pins, so it was actually easier for me to get a screwdriver and the tiny screw there in the center of the torso. I apologize for my camera blurring the Titan Masters. I held it up to the lens, but it's actually easier to unscrew that little screw and then have the heads for Topspin and Twin Twist come off along with the Titan Master heads come off, and basically swap the head, arms and larger robot faces to get monochrome versions of Flameout and Freezeout. It was actually easier for me to do it that way, and I did have to very carefully snap the arms off the ball joint their individual Titan Master arms and swap them out. So to do the simple leg swap to have monochrome Titan Masters for Topspin and Twin Twist, I actually had to remove all of the parts except the legs to do that. So yeah, just be aware of that there. So yeah, there's Freezeout and Flame aim out next to my custom all red and all blue versions of them. I won't bring out the Titans Return versions of Topspin and Twin Twist. I apologize for that, but I'm trying to keep the review as short as possible where I can. And for a quick look at them in their robot modes, here are the Age of the Primes versions of Singe and Hairsplitter transformed into their robot modes. As I said, they are straight up repaints of Zigzag and Solar Flare, who were sold with Needle Nose. Those straight up repaints of each other. And unfortunately for Singe, just like Zigzag, he is not actually made out of black plastic. Every part of him is actually black paint, painted over another colored plastic, which I am certain over time it will eventually peel off and reveal the original plastic color right underneath that. Why in the world these guys weren't just cast in black plastic, since black plastic was used for Spinister's rotor blades? Why in the world they didn't just do Singe in black plastic? Why in the world the black paint was cheaper? I honestly don't know, but yeah, that's a little discouraging. But yeah, there are there's Singe and Hairsplitter next to Zigzag and Solar Flare, and again, they are straight up repaints of each other. And just to have all of the Target Masters for the Decepticon double Target Masters. Here are Quake's partners. I apologize for forgetting their names at the moment. Okay, so I looked it up. Quake's Target Master partners are Tip Top and Heater. So yeah, I kind of wish they would have at least mixed and matched Singe and Hairsplitter and maybe made a Hairsplitter a repaint of a repaint of either Tip Top or Eater just that way these guys would be a little less unique with these 4 Targetmasters being repaints of each other. But that's just my own personal gripe with Singe and Hairsplitter just being direct repaints of Zigzag and Solar Flare. So with that out of the way, I will get the larger Transformers figures transformed into their alt modes, and we will wrap up the review. Alright, and so here are all 3 of them transformed into their alt modes. You can see Topspin and Twin Twist have, they're supposed to be the same vehicle, but at the same time they aren't. Twin Twist is a twin-barreled drill tank, while Topspin is a twin nose-coned owned jet. And the gimmick with them in the Generation 1 line of Jumpstarters is that you would pull them back in their alt modes, and then they would automatically go forward, and then they would spring up and jump up and automatically transform into their robot modes. And because of that, the Generation 1 versions of Topspin and Twin Twist have the honor of being the first ever Transformers action figures to have automatic transformations. That said, the Generation 1 versions of Topspin and Twin Twist, they weren't the most interesting Transformers action figures, especially when they transformed into their robot modes. And in fact, in the original commercial for their Generation 1 Jumpstarter action figures, back in the 1980s, for the Transformers armors, when commercials would be made to show off the latest Transformers action figures being released by Hasbro, they would create an OG animation segment showing the characters in a battle scenario. It made it look like it was out of an episode of the Transformers Generation 1 cartoon, but it actually wasn't. It was an original animation designed for the commercial. And for Topspin and Twin Twist, there was no animation done for them. It just showed them showing off the automatic transformation of their action figures. And so Topspin and Twin Twist, they have never appeared in cartoon animation form to this day. They had the only opportunity they had was on the commercial for their Generation 1 action figures, but no cartoon animation was made for Topspin and Twin Twist. So yeah, they have never appeared in any Transformers cartoon show ever. And to this day, the only appearance they've had, apart from they've had in Transformers media, is the comic books that they've appeared in. So yeah, that's an interesting bit of trivia here with Topspin and Twin Twist. And then, of course, here is Spinister, transformed into his alt mode of helicopter. The rotor blades, they do spin somewhat well, but if you have Spinister standing on a flat surface like I do, he can be a little forward heavy, especially in the front. He does have deployable landing gear, which is just one wheel here on the front. The thing is, the way Generation 1 Spinister transformed, the cockpit section for his helicopter mode would split in half to transform into the feet for his robot mode. Here on the mold originally used for the Siege line, Hasbro decided to give, instead of having the helicopter cockpit split in half, they decided that the helicopter cockpit would transform into one leg, while a fake cockpit that sits underneath the fuselage of Spinister's chopper mode would form the other leg. And so, it's the way it sits on the bottom. Spinister, his landing gear doesn't really necessarily sit on the ground. It's the same thing with Topspin. He has a deployable landing gear as well. I just said deplorable. I meant to say deployable. Depending on your taste, you could argue it's not the best. Of all 3 of them, Twin Twist being a drill tank, he has 4 tiny little plastic wheels here on the tank treads, and wheels here on the front, here on the sides. I'm surprised they didn't try and go the extra mile and make these working tank treads, because since they just transform into shoulder panels when he's in robot mode, that was a missed opportunity where Twin Twist could have been one of the few Transformers action figures that transforms into a type of tank with working treads given to him, but that's just a minor nitpick for me. Anyway, here they are. There's their decos from their robot mode chests. I apologize for not showing that off earlier. Again, the video's gone on much longer than I wanted it to. And I did it for time's sake. aiming and constraints. But yeah, they aren't pretty impressive looking, and I just enjoy having Topspin and Twin Twist standing here beside each other. And like I said, I honestly don't know which version of Spinister has the better paint job, but I don't know if it's mold degradation or not, but when I was transforming Spinister, especially the fake cockpit that ends up on the bottom of his fuselage, there were panels of him that didn't want to connect or attach to it other as well. The worst panels that had trouble detaching were his robot mode arms. If you look right here, there's pegs where the robot mode elbow is supposed to peg here onto the side of the fuselage right there. But here on Age of the Prime Spinister, they're not wanting to peg in fully, and when I do a side-by-side with him with Siege Spinister, I'll show why they aren't clipping in place properly. So unfortunately, I don't know if the Siege Spinister mold is suffering mold degradation or if it's just my copy or not. But we'll get back to Spinister in a moment. So here are Topspin and Twin Twist side by side with each other, and for a special size comparison, here they are next to their Titan's Return Earn figures. I have to move the camera back to try and get them all on screen at once. But yeah, there they are next to their Titan's Return Earn versions. So same thing with the inverted paint job, just on the Generation 1 / Titan's Return versions of them. The two-tone colors are light blue and white, whereas on the Diaclone versions of them it's darker blue with red. And again, here are my custom monochrome solid color versions of Topspin and Twin Twist, just because I wanted to have different versions of them, and I just wanted to see what they would look like being solid colored. And like I said, I originally wanted to get them for my Shattered Glass Transformers collection, so I did swap the weapons. That's because the laser guns that Topspin comes packaged with, they're sculpted in blue plastic, and it's the same thing with Twin Twist. His laser guns are sculpted in red plastic, as you can see by the 5mm handles where they peg into the figure. So I switched them on my custom Shattered Glass as versions of the Jumpstarters. But yeah, one thing I did do, which the few people who've managed to get a hold of duplicate copies of Topspin and Twin Twist, what they haven't done is swap the nose cone sections for their alternate modes, and they are held in place via pins here. And so if you don't want to remove pins and you just want to swap the torsos for them, then Topspin and Upspin here ends up with Twin Twist drills, and vice versa. Twin Twist ends up with Topspin's nose cone owns. I wanted to go the extra mile so Twin Twist could remain a drill tank and Topspin could remain a jet without drills. It was in his alt mode, so I guess for Twin Twist, when he does end up with Topspin's nose cone sections, he becomes a tank with double battering rams, which I don't know how useful that would actually be. And of course, Topspin ends up being a jet with 2 drills on the front of him, which sounds very violent for me personally, but but yeah, if you go the extra mile like I did, you do have to hammer out a pair of metal pins that hold the nose cone sections to the rest of the figure. I used a hammer and a pin pusher to remove those pins and then reinsert them when I was done. I did unfortunately damage Topspin. Upspin, I accidentally chipped a piece of the plastic off, but it's something I'm willing to overlook just for the end result. So yeah, there's my custom solid color versions of Topspin and Twin Twist. So there's what these versions would look like if they were all solid colored. If those of you guys wondering what Topspin would look like if he was entirely red and Twin Twist would be entirely blue. Oh, there they are. Or blue and red versions of the Jumpstarters. So yeah, I really enjoy Topspin and Twin Twist, even back when they were released in Takara Tomi's Diaclone Robots line, how they've always had inverted paint jobs compared to one another. I just really love that paint job that Takara Tomy made Topspin and Twin Twist paint job a gimmick in itself. So bringing back Spinister, here he is next to his Siege counterpart, and of the 5mm ports that the Siege version of Spinister has, the ones underneath his robot mode feet, which become a pair of side wings for his chopper mode. Originally on the instruction sheets and the product photos for Siege Spinister, that was where you would put his two non-transforming laser guns on here, which I have on the Age of the Prime Spinister, or is that spot. But because of where the 5mm ports in his alt mode are placed, if you decide to keep Singe and Hairsplitter from the Siege line, the Battlemaster versions of them with Spinister, then the underside of him here is visually the best spot where you can have them attached without looking too goofy and being able to allow Spinister's rotor blade to keep spinning. Now, as I said, the arms weren't wanting to attach in place properly in Age of the Prime Spinister, and they look almost the same, but if you look right here, especially on that arm, they actually come in place a lot better. I had to apply a lot of force to get the arms to peg into the sides of Spinister here for his chopper mode, and I'm afraid to do it, but yeah, as you can see I don't know if you saw it right there, but as you can see, they spin off, they attach very easily here on Age of the Prime's Spinister, and it's very difficult to get it to push back in. And they also clip into two slots on the bottom of the robot mode feet, as you can see right there. That's where it clips into place. So it does kind of lock it in place, but for Age of the Prime Spinister, it isn't until you also clip them into the underside of the robot mode feet that they finally stick in place. If those clips weren't there, then the arms wouldn't even peg into place. So, like I said, I don't know if that's mold degradation or if it's just comparisons of these two versions of Spinister that I have here. But in terms of which one has the cooler looking paint job, it's really eye-catching, the paint job that Age of the Prime Spinister has, but that's pretty much all it has going for it. In terms of what is Spinister has the best joints and the best QC issues, and which one overall I enjoy the most, I'm going to have to go with Siege Spinister still being the better version of these two figures. I may swap out the Targetmasters and put the Siege versions of Singe and Hairsplitter with Age of the Prime Spinister and vice versa, because even though, as I said, the paint job on here is more eye-catching with a comic book / box art version of Age of the Prime Spinister, Siege G1 action figure Spinister, his paint job still holds up pretty well, especially when compared to his teammates. Speaking of which, here is Age of the Prime Spinister next to Legacy United Quake and Legacy Year 1 Needlenose. So here are all three of the Decepticon double Targetmasters, in their alt modes and having the same style of Targetmasters compared to each other. But yeah, Siege Spinister, he's still my favorite version of both these two Spinisters, so I will keep displaying him with Quake and Needlenose. It's all personal preference, but just be warned from my experience with these figures, there is definitely some mold degradation with Spinister. For Topspin and Twin Twist, I don't think they're suffering any mold degradation. The joints for them, the tolerances, are pretty much the same compared to their Titans Return action figures, even though they were released back in 2016. And although I do admit on Twin Twist, he does have one QC issue where the unpainted gray plastic used on his robot mode pelvis, which sticks out here on the bottom as a flight stand, and if you want to make it look like he's a flying drill tank, it does want to pop off easily, so it doesn't peg in place properly. And for Twin Twist, in Twist, it's not quite as hard, but right here on the top where his legs peg into place, they don't want they were a little bit more difficult to peg in place than his Titans Return action figures. So again, that could just be QC issues with my copies. I don't know if that's mold degradation, but for me personally, it feels like mold degradation on Spinister, which is discouraging, especially for those who missed out on his Siege action figure. So I apologize for the review lasting an hour long. I didn't plan on that. But for my final thoughts and for the proverbial question, do I recommend getting the Legacy Diaclone version of Topspin and also the Age of the Primes, Wreck and Doom, Topspin and Spinister 2-pack along with Twin Twist? Do I recommend getting all of these Transformers action figures? Yes, I do. Even if you did not miss out on the Titans Return and Siege versions of these figures, there's still great versions of these action figures to have. And it's literally once in a blue moon that we get action figures of the Jumpstarters and the Decepticon double Targetmasters. So I highly recommend you get all these action figures. Even though Twin Twist was released 3 years ago and he's now going for aftermarket prices on Amazon, in most websites, I still recommend getting him because he and Topspin look fantastic standing side by side with each other versus standing separately. And Spinister, while my copy does have some QC issues, I do not regret at buying him. I will admit I originally got the 2-pack just to have Topspin stand beside Twin Twist, but Spinister is still a pretty nice looking action figure here. And if, like me, you do have the Siege version of Spinister, then the selling point for the Age of the Primes version is the new Age of the Primes versions of Singe and Hairsplitter. They're the selling points for this version of Spinister, having the same style of Targetmasters as Legacy Needlenose and Legacy United Quake. So I do highly recommend getting these action figures, even if you have the original versions of them. So thank you guys all so much. This has been the TFN Geek, and this has been my double review of Legacy Wreck and Rule Twin Twist is from Diaclone, along with Age of the Primes, Wreck and Doom, Topspin versus Spinister. I highly recommend you get all these action figures if you can. And until next time, you guys, please remember to stay safe, stay healthy. This has been the TFN Geek. Thank you to all your support. And until next time, you guys, transform and roll out. Goodbye, everyone.